why is it that the BJP seeks those details of the letters that were written, the conversation between Jawaharlal Nehru, Edwina Mountbatten and Albert Einstein. Listen in to more reactions coming in. All right, we will just play out that reaction, but once again, a quick recap of the charge made by historian Rizwan, who says that the UPA chairperson in 2008 took away the documents, the letters that were written by Jawaharlal Nehru to Edwina Mountbatten. The historian says that there is crucial information in those letters and those letters must be made public. All right, we will just play out more reactions coming in, but it's the Nehru letters controversy which the BJP has escalated, questioning the Congress as to why the letters have not been made public till now. Let's listen into that reaction coming in of Manikam Tagore.
I'm joined by Congress Member of Parliament, Manikam Tagore. Mr. Tagore, how do you see this now? The letters which are in possession of Sonia Gandhi, the letters which were exchanged between Jawaharlal Nehru and Edwina Mountbatten. The PMML is saying that those letters are country property and it should be returned. They have written a letter to Rahul Gandhi.
Why Godse's family and Godse's channels are very eager to know about these kind of things? We all know that the anger Godse's have it on Gandhi and Nehru. It's a diversionary tactics from the real issue, and we will never allow the diversionary tactics. This is it's all known that Nehru's letter must be with the Nehru family, not with the Godse family.
One more thing, we spoke to Sambit Patra, BJP leader. He's saying that what is there to hide? What is Congress hiding? The letters which are exchanged between Edwina and Jawaharlal Nehru, what is the content of the letter that they don't want to reveal it to the public?
These half-baked friends who speaks about who becomes spokespersons of BJP must read Nehru's letters. There are volumes of Nehru's letters as books. We will send one copy of the Nehru's letters books to those kind of half-baked friends.
They are planning to take this issue in the parliament. They are saying that this issue will be taken up in the parliament as this concerns the country and the people.
We all know that the parliament is one-sided. It allows the chairs allows only the BJP's wing, BJP's speeches. They don't allow the opposition voices to be heard. Channels as well as the parliament are becoming biased, which is very dangerous for the democracy.
So this Manikam Tagore on PMML writing letter to Rahul Gandhi. Harsha Chandwani for Republic TV.
Who has returned home after making history in chess. He is also expected to address the media at the Chennai airport in just a while from now. But there you see people who've gathered to catch a glimpse of the world chess champion who scripted history, becoming the youngest champion in the world of chess. Gukesh defeated world champion Ding Liren to become the 18th world chess champion last week in Singapore. The duo batted on for 14 games before the Chinese opponent made a mistake with his rook and blundered the game. Rook to blunder the game, the match and his crown away. The crowd that has gathered to catch a glimpse of D. Gukesh, world chess champion, who's returned home to Chennai. So D. Gukesh, who has arrived in Chennai and is greeted by Sports Development Authority of Tamil Nadu and his school teachers as well. The 18-year-old who is being felicitated as we speak. All right, so there you see, those are the visuals, the whole country that is congratulating D. Gukesh for his massive victory, for scripting history. Let's go across to Ankit. He is joining us from the sports desk. Ankit, the visuals here are testament to the fact that the world is showering praises on D. Gukesh for becoming the youngest world chess champion ever.
Right, absolutely. A few months back, we saw the same kind of fanfare that cricket got after they won the T20 World Cup. The entire Mumbai, the city, the people of the city, they were on the streets to welcome the champions. And now we are seeing something similar for D. Gukesh. Chess is not a very popular sport in the country, but surely Gukesh is rewriting things over here, and he's changing everything in the world of chess right now by
வீட்டுக்கு இந்த காஃபி கொண்டு வந்ததில் எனக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம் ரொம்ப வருஷமா என்னோட கனவு ஸோ இங்கே வந்ததுனால எனக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம் எல்லாருக்கும் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப
vehicle I'm
very glad to be here and I could see the support and what it means to India, so I'm really glad to be here.
hometown hero, homecoming, and the celebrations are right. Like what is your message to the fans?
You guys are amazing. You gave me so much energy, so yeah, looking forward to meeting you all.
Side. Ida, Vandi. This is the vehicle.
Please come this side. Sir, you come go.
All right, so D. Gukesh, who's returned home, let's go across to Ankit again, who continues to be with us from the sports desk. Ankit, if you can talk to us more about how this victory means a lot for the country, given that D. Gukesh has become the youngest ever world chess champion.
So yes, this kind of a reception was really not expected. What I can understand is the fact that sources close to Republic can confirm that there have been people outside the Chennai International Airport since 5 o'clock in the morning. So this is madness for the game of chess in the city of Chennai. Chennai is also being called as the capital of chess in the world right now. And also what we can understand is sources close to Republic claim that now he's going to have a very long day. Gukesh is going to have a very long day where he's going to be taken to his school, Vellamal International School, where he's going to meet his teachers, his friends and all of that, and also attend a few other events in and across the city. Over to you.
Right, Ankit, stay with us while we keep with these visuals coming from Chennai. D. Gukesh, whose scripted history, the 18-year-old who's been felicitated. He was greeted by the Sports Development Authority of Tamil Nadu and his school teachers as well. D. Gukesh, who defeated Ding Liren in the match that took place in Singapore, the youngest world chess champion. D. Gukesh, who is back home. Ding had won game 1 before Gukesh drew level in game 3. The duo then played out 7 draws before Gukesh won and scripted history. Let's go across to Ankit again. Ankit, if you can keep talking to us over these visuals of how the crowd has gathered to catch just one glimpse of D. Gukesh, who's receiving a rousing welcome, not just by the people in the state, but by many who've come from different states to catch a glimpse of the world chess champion.
You know, this is a massive moment for chess in the country that Gukesh has won this massive event. We were also speaking to Vishwanathan Anand the other day, where Vishwanathan Anand was saying that Gukesh has the kind of a
by thanking the Honorable Prime Minister, the Leader of the House, Shri Jagat Prakash Nadda, my party, and you, the Honorable Chairman, for giving me this opportunity to speak in this discussion marking the historic occasion of 75 years of our Constitution. I feel very honored and equally I feel humbled that this opportunity has been given to me. I thank the entire House and seek your indulgence if I come up with some thoughts which I'd like to share, which any member could have a difference of opinion. But I will start again by paying homage to all the 389 members of the Constituent Assembly. In particular, the 15 women who, in less than 3 years together, took up the arduous challenge and prepared in a very challenging environment the Constitution for India, and which has stood the test of time. Until today, we are extremely proud of the way India's democracy is growing. As we mark the 75th year of our Constitution, sir, it is time, I would think, to reaffirm our commitment to build India, that is Bharat, that shall uphold the spirit enshrined in this sacred document. So with those words, I get into telling about the journey that these 75 years have seen of our Indian Constitution, and also to say why India's Constitution and India today stands out in a very separate league of its own. Sir, let me just remind, and I'm sure very many members of this House will know, that post-Second World War, nearly 50 countries, in fact over 50 countries, had become independent and they had their constitution written, but many have changed their constitutions, not just amended them, but literally changed the entire feature of their constitution. But our constitution has stood the test of time, of course yielded itself to very many amendments, and here therefore I would like to have a few words of what Constitution India expert Dr. Subhash Kashyap had to say. While many constitutions of nations framed after the Second World War have floundered and gone into oblivion, our Constitution successfully faced many crises and survived. This itself is evidence of its resilience, dynamism, and growth potential. Now, India's experience has shown that our Constitution remains robust, yielding to several amendments, as I said, which were the need of the hour. And Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chairman of the drafting committee, had said, and I quote, "I feel, however, good a constitution may be, however good a constitution may be, it is sure to turn out bad because those who are called to work it happen to be a bad lot. However bad a constitution may be, it may turn out to be good if those who are called to work it happen to be a good lot." Unquote. These are words of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, sir. And in this background, therefore, with those words right afresh in our mind, I'd like to discuss about how in the last 7 decades, the living document that our Constitution has faced very many amendments. And while looking at those amendments, I'd like to have a touchstone of 4 different elements. One, has the social intent behind any amendment been genuine? And therefore the outcome has been genuine? That's one test I would like to place any amendment on the testing board. Second, I'd like to see if the economic intent and the economic outcome of any constitutional amendment has actually been bona fide and has the outcome helped the society at large. Third, I'd like to test it on the ground of process adopted for it, for the amendment itself. And fourth, the constitutional spirit behind such an amendment. Now, if an amendment can go through these kind of tests, we'll be able to see why India's constitution, going by the words of Dr. Ambedkar, if you had good people who are called to work on it, give good outcomes. If you have, I'm using Ambedkar's words, bad people who are brought to work on it happen to give such outcomes which are discussed. So if I move to talking about those amendments which have gone through these 4 tests, we'll be able to see how the intent and the outcome are justifiable and people in the history books do write about them. Sequentially, because it is the first ever amendment, I'd like to take about the first Constitutional Amendment Act of 1951. So it's been said, and Honorable Prime Minister, while talking in the Lok Sabha, also referred to the fact that there was an interim government in place between 1947, August 15th. The interim government was there before that as well. And it lasted till 17th April 1952, post which an elected government took over the charge. But during 1951, when the amendment for the first Constitutional Amendment Act was passed, it was an interim government and not elected Government of India post 1947. Now, this was enacted, therefore, within a year of the commencement of the Constitution. It's worth remembering. In fact, on the issues related to the amendment, or which triggered the amendment itself, which is the freedom of speech and expression, the amendment added 3 more heads to Article 19(2), saying public order could be a cause to restrict freedom of speech, friendly relations with foreign states could be a cause to restrict freedom of speech, or incitement to an offense could also be a cause. These were the amendments brought in the first constitutional amendment. So the Supreme Court of India, even in 1950, 1 year before this amendment, had passed 2 landmark judgments that paved the way for freedom of press under Article 19(1)(a). The Supreme Court had ruled in favor of the communist magazine Crossroads and the RSS's organizational magazine Organizer. The Supreme Court had ruled in favor of them in 1950. Many high courts also upheld the freedom of expression of our citizens and ruled in their favor. But in response, the interim government thought that there was a need for a first constitutional amendment, and that was brought in by the INC, and it was essentially to curb the freedom. So India, a democratic country, which prides itself even today about freedom of expression, saw the first interim government coming up with a constitutional amendment which was to curb the freedom of speech of Indians. And that is within 1 year of adoption of the Constitution. So, let me say, sir, that is because the first Prime Minister of this country deplored press scrutiny of his government, even as he publicly praised freedom of the press. There was no doubt about it. And He had scrutinized the amending bill himself before approving its introduction in the Parliament. In the Parliament, sir, it didn't go through smoothly at all. The voices which spoke about it, and I will also refer some of the observations made by eminent members vehemently who opposed it. Sri Shyama Prasad Mukherjee said, you can pass a law, I'm quoting, sir, you can pass a law and say that the entire task of framing, interpreting and working the constitution will be left in the hands of Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, assisted by such people whom he may desire to consult. I would think it was a snide remark saying, oh, you do it all yourself with the people who you choose to have and not with the approval of the Parliament. That was the extent to which Pandit Shyama Prasad Mukherjee was upset about this amendment. Sir, he also said, you're treating this constitution as a scrap of paper. You have declared preamble of your constitution that you have done something unheard of in history, that within so short a period of attainment of freedom, you have trusted the people of this country to draft a constitution. You have given a charter of rights to them. Now, Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee says, now you come forward and stab them in the back. You're not working for the benefit of the present generation, but for party ends. But for party ends, unquote. Sir Sri Kameshwar Singh, a member of the Constituent Assembly, also had a lot of comments to pass, and he said, I quote, this Parliament, again, is a provisional one, and it cannot be said to be reflecting the will of the people in the way the Constitution wants Parliament to reflect it. For a government or a Parliament of this kind, it is highly improper to make such fundamental changes in the Constitution without making any reference to public opinion, and that too at the fag end of the strenuous parliamentary session and almost on the eve of a general election, unquote. So scathing remarks were made, and despite these remarks, Prime Minister Nehru went ahead with the amendment. Kameshwar Singh again goes about to say, do they not show, I quote, do they not show utter disregard for the Constitution when they attempt to amend it simply because some of the laws have been criticized and found invalid by the judiciary? Today we hear comments from the Indian National Congress about how the current government is questioning the judiciary. This comment coming from a member of the Constituent Assembly itself says, prior to the First Amendment to the Constitution, which curtailed freedom of expression. The Prime Minister, he furthers, the Prime Minister, I'm constrained to say, that is Sri Kameshwar Singh, the Prime Minister, I'm constrained to say, is creating a bad precedent by sowing the seed of executive despotism, and playing with the supremacy of the Constitution for party advantages, unquote. So there was no doubt this amendment was more raised for the sake of the party or the Prime Minister and the government's image, rather than assuring what the Constituent Assembly had suggested as the Constitution which was going to be adopted. An amendment bill was passed, the Press Objectionable Matter Act on 23rd October 1951. We know therefore the amendment, the intent, the four tests that I was talking about: social impact and intent, economic impact and intent, the constitutional spirit, and the process adopted for the amendment, all of which are questionable, but nevertheless that amendment was undertaken, and we heard how that amendment till today affects the freedom of speech of this country. Now, it is not as if this 1951 amendment happened all in a sudden. Prior to the amendment and post the amendment, we've had recorded action taken by those government that day, that particular government, in curtailing the freedom of speech. So the act was just waiting to happen, because even before it they started it, and even after that they were continuing. What are the examples, sir? Majroor Sultanpuri and Balraj Sahani were both jailed in 1949 itself. For what mistakes, sir? During one of the meetings organized for the mill workers in 1949, Majroor Sultanpuri recited a poem that was written against Jawaharlal Nehru, and therefore he had to go to the jail. Sir, he refused to render an apology for the same and was jailed therefore in 1949 along with Balraj Sahni, eminent actor of those days. So that is the level of tolerance, and today we hold our constitution in our hand, go about it and say freedom of speech. There is sense of fear in the country. Majroor Sultanpuri didn't feel it, Balraj Sahni didn't feel it, but the history repeats when it comes to the Congress party. Sir, Congress's record of curtailing freedom of speech didn't confine it with these two people. Nehru, a political biography which was written by Michael Edwards, in 1975 was banned. They banned also a film called Kissa Kursi Ka in 1975, which was directed by Amritlal Nahata, just because it questioned Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and her son, and also the Information Broadcasting Minister then. They banned also John Dalby's book Himalayan Blunder, because it spoke about some huge crushing military disaster which happened in 1962, the China War. The details shouldn't come out, and therefore they banned that book as well. So this, and a bit later, 1988, Salman Rushdie's book, Satanic Verses, was also banned. So the spree of curtailing the freedom of expression, the spree of containing freedom of press has happened before 49, and during 49 and 50, 51 the act comes, and subsequently also it continues. So it's nothing new. So the amendment, again, a second issue that I'd like to draw your attention to. I said I'm putting it through 4 tests. A 9th schedule was brought into through the first Constitutional Amendment Act. The 9th schedule, sir, is an interesting innovation brought for bypassing judicial review. Why was it brought in? I'm questioning the intent, sir, the constitutional spirit which is not being respected, and the process which is adopted are part of the test I want every amendment to be put to, so that you know whether it is done with the national interest, or is it done with some economic public good, or if it is brought in because there is a social large good which is required to be obtained. No, the 9th schedule was brought in only because they wanted to bypass judicial scrutiny. Any act incorporated in the 9th schedule became fully protected against any challenge in any court of law under any fundamental right. So even the act declared invalid. Even worse, today about everything retrospective we talk, saying no, nothing can happen in retrospective, it has to be futuristic. So prospective is what? Whether it is taxation, whether it is benefits, whether it is any clarificatory note. But here we go, the act declared invalid by a court becomes valid retrospectively after being incorporated into the 9th schedule. That's the extent to which they went, so that they can bypass judicial scrutiny. And Congress speaks about protecting rights and also on judicial independence. It is shocking. Yes, we'll come. I'll come.
Please,
sir.
Jaramji, take your place.
The third point, sir.
Please. अच्छी डिबेट चल रही है, सुनिए, आपका जब समय आएगा बोलिएगा, प्लीज।
SC, ST, OBC, come on, people who sat over Kelkar. Sir, the next instance which I would like to put through is amendment being enacted the judiciary was held in contempt. They had to be committed judiciary or else they were not respected at all. Another example, sir. Constitutional amendment was brought in to nullify a judgment that arose in the case of Mrs. Indira Gandhi versus Raj Narayan, wherein the order of the Allahabad High Court setting aside the election of Indira Gandhi was challenged. So, during the pendency of this case in the Supreme Court, the Congress party enacted the 39th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1975. Again, earlier there is a Supreme Court and many other high courts have given clearance, but even then we'll curb freedom of speech, 1951, the First Amendment.
आइस बोला था लाने को, लद्दाख चला गया, पूछा फोन पे इतना बिजी क्यों है, तो क्या बोला तू? हाँ, माउंटेन्स वर कॉलिंग।
डॉक्टर जानगी उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तू किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
हो गई हमारे पोते को हम कहाँ रखे हुए हैं कि मारती है कि जिंदा है, वो भी हम नहीं देख पा रहे हैं। हमारी यही गुहार है कि हमारा पोता हमको देखने को और हमारे पास रहे, और कोई गुहार नहीं। खाली वीडियो कॉलिंग पर हमने देखा है उसको, अपने गोदी में कभी नहीं। एक दादा के लिए उसका पोता अपने बेटे से भी बढ़कर होता है। हो गई हमारे पोते को हम कहाँ रखे हुए हैं कि मारती है कि जिंदा है, वो भी हम नहीं देख पा रहे हैं। हमारी यही गुहार है कि हमारा पोता हमको देखने को और हमारे पास रहे, और कोई गुहार नहीं। हमारी कानून व्यवस्था को हम धन्यवाद देते हैं जो कम से कम मेरी गुहार उन लोग सुन करके और इतना बड़ा हमको राहत दिए हैं। ये बहुत बड़ी राहत की बात है, कम से कम उन लोग गिरफ्तार तो है। यही कहना है कि पोता हमको चाहिए। यदि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री हैं मोदी जी, योगी जी है, नीतीश जी है, तेजस्वी जी है, और जो हमारे नेतागण है, रामनाथ जी हमारे बगल के हैं। अच्छा, हमको गुहार उनसे यही है कि मेरा पोता हमको मिले, और कोई गुहार नहीं है हमको।
पोता से आपने कभी फिर इधर बातचीत हुई?
हम तो कभी गए नहीं बेंगलोर, हम कैसे देखते? खाली वीडियो कॉलिंग पर हमने देखा है उसको, अपने गोदी में कभी नहीं। एक दादा के लिए उसका पोता अपने बेटे से भी बढ़कर होता है।
Reservation for women, sir, whereas the small benefit a widowed woman would have, a divorced Muslim woman would have got, was also defeated by this act. The constitutional amendment which the Congress party brought in 1986. So my test again, sir, neither samajik nyay, nor arthik nyay, nor the process, nor the constitutional spirit, nothing of this was respected. And each time the Congress brazenly, only to help the family, the dynasty, kept amending the constitution, and this is how far they went, even if it affects any particular women who desperately needed the benefit.
Travis Head is a name that India have always been wary of. No other player in the recent times have tormented India as compared to the Australian southpaw. Head's exploits against India started last year in the World Test Championship finals, where he led Australia to a stunning victory at the Oval in England. He later followed it up by scoring a century against the Indians in the 2023 ODI World Cup final. Come to the Border Gavaskar Trophy, Head scored a stunning 100 in the second test match of the series in Adelaide and has slammed yet another ton in the ongoing test match which is being played at the Gabba. India's plans have completely failed against Head and his skills with the bat in hand. Last time India played at the Gabba, they had defeated the Aussies to seal the Border Gavaskar Trophy series, but this time around, the outcome might just be a bit different. Travis Head has been absolutely phenomenal in the Border Gavaskar Trophy so far and is scoring at an average that is in excess of 100. With his stellar 100 at the iconic Gabba, Head has now scripted a unique feat that no other cricketer in history has. Head has scored a king pair and a century at the same venue in the same calendar year. Earlier this year, in January, Head registered a king pair against West Indies in a pink ball test at the Gabba. Head was cleaned up by Kemar Roach for a golden duck in the first innings of that test match, and he was later dismissed by Shamar Joseph in the second innings of the match. But Head has now got rid of his Brisbane woes with a terrific 100 against India, and it might very well decide the fate of the match and also the series. Jasprit Bumrah led India to an emphatic win in Perth, but since then everything has been going downhill for the Indian cricket team. Once Rohit Sharma returned and joined the Indian team, Australia's fortunes changed drastically. The hosts defeated India by 10 wickets in the Adelaide Test match, and as far as the ongoing Brisbane Test match is considered, the Aussies are still in the driver's seat. India are in a dire need of winning all the remaining 3 Test matches of the series in order to qualify for the World Test Championship finals.
After weeks of intense negotiations, the controversy surrounding the 2025 Champions Trophy appears to be nearing a resolution, according to sources within the Board of Control.
Law, Maintenance of Internal Security Act 1971, the infamous MISA. And I know of political leaders who have chosen to have their children named after MISA to remember those black days. And now they wouldn't even mind having alliance with me. Sir, all these together turned the Constitution into a qualitatively different text from what it was originally as adopted in November 26. So I'd just like to come here for one observation.
After weeks of intense negotiations, the controversy surrounding the 2025 Champions Trophy appears to be nearing a resolution. According to sources within the Board of Control for Cricket in India, the International Cricket Council and the Pakistan Cricket Board, a final decision is expected soon. Pakistan will remain the official host of the championship, but with a twist. 5 out of 15 games, including the highly anticipated India-Pakistan match, will be played in a second country, likely the United Arab Emirates. The BCCI and PCB have reportedly reached a middle ground on the issue of hosting ICC events in India, which was a major point of contention. The PCB may have been offered an honourable exit route, allowing them to present the outcome as a victory. Pakistan may also be allotted a global ICC women's event in the 2027-31 cycle as part of the agreement. The PCB had initially opposed the hybrid model, with Chairman Mohsin Naqvi expressing his concerns publicly. However, it appears that his concerns have been addressed and some form of monetary compensation may also have been granted. The ICC is expected to convene a meeting on Saturday to formalize the agreement. The meeting will likely provide a stamp of approval for the agreed upon terms, bringing an end to the prolonged saga. The resolution of the Champions Trophy controversy will come as a relief to cricket fans worldwide. The tournament is expected to be a major success, with the hybrid model providing a unique and exciting experience for spectators. The final schedule of the Champions Trophy was expected to be announced on the 11th November 2024, but the never-ending tug-of-war going on between both the two boards has increased problems for the ICC. It is now being said that ICC might have missed a contractual deadline for the release of the tournament's schedule. The stakeholders associated with the event needed the schedule to be released 90 days before the event. The Mohsin Naqvi-led Pakistan Cricket Board has refused to host the tournament in a hybrid model, whereas the Board of Control for Cricket in India has written to the ICC that Rohit Sharma and company will
हाय, मैं हूं बॉस्को मार्टिस और मैं आ रहा हूं 20 दिसंबर को आपके पसंदीदा चैनल पर रिपब्लिक भारत। तौबा तौबा के बारे में बात करेंगे, उसके मेकिंग के बारे में बात करेंगे, विकी कौशल ने उसको कैसे, उसका जो एक वाइब जो है वो जो कैसे क्रिएट किया, हाउ द ऑडियंस लव्ड एवरीथिंग अबाउट दैट सॉन्ग। सी यू एट द संगम इवेंट ऑन रिपब्लिक भारत।
हो गई, हमारे पोते को हम कहाँ रखे हुए हैं कि मार दी है कि जिंदा है, वो भी हम नहीं देख पा रहे हैं। हमारी यही गुहार है कि हमारा पोता हमको देखने को और हमारे पास रहे, और कोई गुहार नहीं। खाली वीडियो कॉलिंग पर हमने देखा है उसको अपने गोदी में, कभी नहीं। एक दादा के लिए उसका पोता अपने बेटे से भी बढ़कर होता है। हो गई, हमारे पोते को कहाँ रखे हुए हैं कि मार दी है कि जिंदा है, वो भी हम नहीं देख पा रहे हैं। हमारी यही गुहार है कि हमारा पोता हमको देखने को और हमारे पास रहे, और कोई गुहार नहीं। हमारी कानून व्यवस्था को हम धन्यवाद देते हैं जो कम से कम मेरी गुहार उन लोग सुन करके और इतना बड़ा हमको राहत दिए हैं। ये बहुत बड़ी राहत की बात है, कम से कम उन लोग गिरफ्तार तो है। यही कहना है कि पोता हमको चाहिए। यदि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री हैं मोदी जी, योगी जी हैं, नीतीश जी हैं, तेजस्वी जी हैं, और जो हमारे नेतागण हैं, रामनाथ जी हमारे बगल के हैं। अच्छा, हमको गुहार उनसे यही है कि मेरा पोता हमको मिले, और कोई गुहार नहीं है हमको।
पोता से आपने कभी फिर इधर बातचीत?
Such thinking individual to say such harsh words, it needs retrospection. We should never repeat such great follies in which we took the constitution for granted. People rejected such people, and lessons have to be learned. So sir, I'd like to again say, when I soon would want to speak about what's the attitude of Congress today, I'd like to come to one line of an eminent person which was said during the 42nd Amendment debate. He was no less than later on chief minister, or prior to that also, and a minister. But as a Congress MP, Shri C.M. Stephen, an eminent congressman, yes, it might be useful to remember that also. I'll read the quote, it might be useful further. Sir C.M. Stephen, as a Congress MP at that time, says, during the debate of 42nd Amendment, which had so many implications. So it brings me the shivers to read this line, but I'm reading it because we should know how we speak. Quote, sir, I quote, "Now the power of this parliament, through the 42nd Amendment that is declared to be out of bounds for any court." He says this. Now the power of this parliament is declared to be out of bounds for any court. It is left to the courts whether they should defy it. He continues, "I do not know whether they will have the temerity to do that. But if they do, that will be a bad day for the judiciary. The committee of the House is sitting with regard to the inquiry into the conduct of judges. We have got our methods, our machinery." Unquote. Sir, imagine if today one of our MPs would say, anywhere, would say this and say the temerity of the judges, the courts, but no, what we hear from Congress today, oh, you are undermining institutions, you have no respect to the Constitution, you that, you this. Look at this one statement, sir. And during emergency, passing the 42nd Amendment, the attitude of gamand, The Gamandiya Gadbadhan even today, but then they spoke that, passing the 42nd Amendment. The people of India didn't forgive this, and that's why they lost miserably. When she conceded to change the amendment, na? Sir, all right, don't beg for concessions like that. All right. Sir, what is today's INC, sir? In the budget session 2022, मैं ये घमंड बदला नहीं है, कम नहीं हुआ, उसको साबित करना चाहती हूँ. Budget session 2022, sir. I'm not taking the name of the Congress leader who's not in this house, but I'm sure this statement will obviously ring a bell to everybody. The judiciary, I quote, the judiciary, the election commission, Pegasus, these are all instruments of destroying the voice of the Union of States, unquote. You heard CM Stephen then, and you just see the statements which are coming. Committed judiciary is what they wanted. The contempt for the judiciary and the constitutional bodies is not new now. And that term was used by one eminent congressman. And that eminent congressman, I'll take his name, sir, because I have to quote him, Shri Mohan Kumar Mangala. He had said that the government will appoint chief justices based on the government's assessment of their philosophy and outlook, telling the parliament in 1973, I quote, certainly, we as a government have a duty to take into consideration, I'm putting it in brackets, certainly, we as a government have a duty to take the philosophy, the outlook of the judge in coming to the constitution, in coming to the conclusion whether he should or should not lead the Supreme Court at this time. I repeat this quote, sir. Certainly, we as a government have a duty to take the philosophy and the outlook of the judge in coming to the conclusion whether he should or should not lead the Supreme Court at this time, unquote. After that judgment on Keshwanand Bharati case, sir, you're an eminent senior, who became a senior advocate at a very young age, and I stand before you talking small things about judiciary. Pardon me if I have any, oversight which has not worked well. A day after the historic judgment in April 25, 1973, in the Keshwanand Bharati case, in which the majority declared that the parliament cannot alter or abridge the basic structure of the constitution, Srimati Indira Gandhi was furious with the judgment because it constricted the party's plan to bring in major amendments. So the three judges, this is what I want to highlight, committed judiciary, if they are not there, we'll do what we want. So the three judges were accorded swift punishment via suppression on April 26, and Justice A.N. Ray, who did not subscribe to the majority decision, was elevated. After Ray retired in 77, again, Srimati Indira Gandhi government gave superseded the senior most candidate, Justice Hansraj Khanna, to appoint Justice Mirza Hamidullah Beg as the Chief Justice. So it is really sad that the test that I'm putting each one of these amendments, whether they was in line with the constitutional spirit, whether it was the process was followed, whether the large economic good was considered or social good was considered as an objective, none of them meet that. The OBC Commission is something which I want to mention how our intent, Prime Minister Modi was clear. The OBC Commission will have to be set up, and constitutional amendments have to empower communities and not put them at a disadvantage. But therefore the 102nd Constitutional Amendment Act was brought in 2018 and inserted Article 338B. But what's the contrast, sir, with the Congress? In 1950, Kaka Kalekar Commission was formed, but Congress prevented its report from being published. Dr. Ambedkar was of the view that Pandit Nehru was not concerned about the welfare, was not concerned enough about the welfare of the SCs. I quote Baba Saheb Ambedkar. From the very first election, we have been fighting against the Congress because it is unnecessarily interfering with our rights. Just see the leader of the Congress party, Pandit Nehru. He has delivered 2,000 speeches during the last 20 years, but he has never spoken about the welfare of scheduled castes even once. This is Baba Saheb Ambedkar's words. So, from this, he further says, from this you can judge what sympathy the Congress party can have for our people when its leader is so much adamant. Unquote. Sir, this is said several times, but it's worth saying now. Congress did not even allow Baba Saheb's photo to be installed in the central hall of the old Parliament House for decades. He was, of course, denied Bharat Ratna. Similarly, the Mandal Commission was created to provide reservation for backward classes. But Mrs. Indira Gandhi or even Sri Rajiv Gandhi opposed it, delaying 27% reservation for the OBCs in central institutions. So we are the ones who brought it in, not the Congress. One more interest. Instance of how the GST, which was again a constitutional amendment which has to be brought in. Sir, GST related constitutional provisions has never been encouraged prior to its bringing by Prime Minister Modi in 2017. Sir, this started very quickly to trace the timeline, sir. Shri Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the first to suggest during the NDA rule in 2000 to get going with the GST. However, the sincere efforts that he made could not realize or could not see the light of the day. And the 10 years after his tenure, led by the UPA, did not much do to get it on board. Sir, within 2 years after the introduction in the Parliament of the GST related 101st Constitutional Amendment Act was passed and ratified by more than 50 states with effect from 8th September 2016. Just the data will tell you, sir, where the Congress party was. Despite being a coalition comprising of 26 parties, the UPA could not manage to get this GST. Even Congress-ruled states were opposed for the GST to be brought in. 2012. I'll say that as well. I'll say that as well. That will also be said. 3 BJP-ruled states. 3 BJP-ruled states also opposed. I don't hide facts. 3 BJP-ruled states also opposed, including Gujarat. I'm saying that. Sir, I'm saying it, sir. I'm saying it myself that Gujarat opposed it. I'm saying it myself. अरे नंबूत्री बात गवर्नमेंट को सेव नहीं कर पाया कांग्रेस से, आप क्या खड़े हो रहे हो? कम्युनिस्ट है, बैठ जाओ. Sir, 3 non-BJP ruled states, sir. So I don't know. 3 non-BJP ruled states. I said about Gujarat, now I'm saying non-BJP ruled states, including Congress-ruled Maharashtra, opposed provisions of the UPA's GST. So if they want to first shout about Gujarat, I'm saying it myself. But please do shout about Maharashtra as well. No, they want to pretend they were all ready. They were not ready. Sir, Congress-led ruling UDF government, all right, in Kerala voiced severe concerns. Okay, sir, left front opposes, UDF opposes, Congress is part of the UDF, but no, they will never say that. One Gujarat is what they want to say. And I'll tell you why Gujarat had to oppose also. So, they could not bring the GST amendment. When we bring it, this is how they would like to shout about it. But I'm sorry, I'm not lying, sir. I'm sorry. I will have to demand a written apology from Shri Jairam Ramesh for accusing me of lying, which I never do. And whether it is parliamentary or unparliamentary, first of all, sir, the chair, I trust you will take care of that. But accusing me of lying is now very clear, runs in the Congress blood. Somebody had to go to the court to say sorry. When I was the defense minister, not only did they call Prime Minister Modi as a chore, but they kept calling me that I'm lying. And who had to go and apologize in the court? And now I wouldn't mind seeing another member going and apologizing the court, although the word said in the parliament is never taken to the court. Sir, all MPs in the House, when the GST was brought in, and this is also something which the Congress will have to gulp if they can. All MPs present in the House, including those of the Congress, had voted for the GST constitutional amendment, which was brought in by Prime Minister Modi. In fact, I wouldn't mind if Jairam Ramesh once again calls me that I'm lying, but records of the parliament will say it. Jairam Ramesh wanted to move some amendments, but Dr. Manmohan Singh personally asked him not to do so because of the fine consensus that has been arrived in the GST Council. Yes. Sir, I don't lie, records don't lie. Don't jump in a hurry to accuse me that I'm lying. Sir? I will authenticate it. But you authenticate that I'm lying, please.
Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, it's a fair comment by Jairam Ramesh. You need to authenticate it. Yes. And during the course of the day, when I watched the Lok Sabha debates, I frequently came across, please authenticate. It is started in this house. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, sir. I will authenticate. And despite the support given by the Congress in passing the amendment, GST constitutional amendment, you have the Congress leader, again not taking name, goes about calling the GST a Gabbar Singh tax. Sir, and therefore, about amendments, I have said some words. Now I just want to highlight...
Minister, but if some Gabbar Singh comes and files a suit then? If some Gabbar Singh in the country comes forward,
oh yes,
that I have been defamed then?
That's right, sir. And the problem, sir, when GST matters come, I will sometime again speak as much as I've done it earlier. Yeah. Congress ministers are sitting and arguing about rates that they will not know. The GST Council, Congress finance ministers are also sitting and talking about it. So we are marking the Constitution 75th year. I want to just remind again something very, very quickly, sir. When 75 years of Indian independence was marked in 2022, Prime Minister Modi had celebrated it in the name of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Throughout the country, every state government participated. Every state government also picked up all the freedom fighters, known, unknown, all of them were celebrated, and there was a lot of discussion all over the country. And recently, sir, Prime Minister also spoke about the 11 oaths that we need to take in the Lok Sabha when he spoke. And in 2022, from the Red Fort, he had announced how Panch Pran, meaning we need to get out of that Gulami Mansikta. We have to get over that and look forward to building this country and taking it forward and so on. But 75 years of Indian independence, Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, 75 years of the Constitution, we are having these wonderful debates in the two houses. Every 25 or 50 years are celebrated, sir. I'd like to remind as to what was the celebration when in 25 years of Indian independence, what did we do? So I'm contrasting this. When the completion of the 25 years happened in 1973, sir, when in 1973, how was it celebrated, sir, 25 years of independence? There was a time capsule. A time capsule was interned, a Kal Patra was interned in the Red Fort. And at that time, the people were told, this time capsule will be seen only after 5,000 years. And in that time capsule, the journey of India, free India, was all being written, and actually it was kept as a top secret. Nobody knew anything as to what was inside the time capsule. A professor of history was employed to write this India since 1947, marking the 25th anniversary. But it was kept a secret. Sir, questions were asked in the parliament. What exactly is in the time capsule marking 25 years of India's independence? What actually went into that interned? It was a steel and copper made vacuum filled case into which the document was interned, and then it was put into the Red Fort. That one, sir, was kept a secret. When asked in the parliament, the then education minister apparently said, and I'm reading from the book published by an eminent parliamentarian, Ira Sejian. He puts in his book as to what was the reply given by the education minister then. And I quote, before that, the education minister expressed his inability to disclose the said document. What's the document which is in it? No, I can't disclose. And what did he say? I quote, within the limitations of its compass, it was designed to preserve an authentic record of our time for posterity. Having regard to this concept, the question of contemporaneous publications or laying the text of the document on the table of the House does not arise, unquote. The education minister, while he put the time capsule to be preserved for 5,000 years, does not allow the parliament to know what was inside it. That is 1973, 2 years before the emergency was brought. This kind of an operation in stealth happened, marking 25 years of India's independence, and the parliament should not be informed. That was the line the education minister gives. Even worse, sir, I just want to highlight what was said about Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee in that capsule content. I like to say, and I quote from the book, sir, the BJP of Atal Bihari Vajpayee is described as, says the author, and I quote, Jan Sangh People's Party is a militant orthodox Hindu party opposing the concept of secular state, unquote. This is what is being said about Atal Bihari Vajpayee in the capsule, about which they don't say in the House. They didn't say it in the House. Even worse, sir, if that is the record for first 25 years of independent India, which has to be preserved for 5,000 years, look at what has been said. C. Rajagopalachaari, there was no reference. There was no reference deference to C. Rajagopalachari, the first Governor General of this country. To the President of India, Dr. Rajendra Prasad had no mention in that content. Dr. Radhakrishnan, Zakir Hussain, and to the Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri, who though short in physical stature, was tall in political stature, who went all the way to Tashkent as a pilgrim of peace to establish harmony in this part of the world. Don't you think this author, who's a parliamentarian, asks, don't you think that such names deserve to be inscribed in the historical document of our country during the period of the first quarter century of Indian independence, unquote. So that's the level of secrecy about even members of parliament, about eminent leaders of different political parties, and sly comments were all packed up in that. Later, it was all removed. So that is the nature of Congress party, sir. I want to highlight that fact. Sir, the names missed out is something which shocks the country, but that was the level to which the party went in the arrogance with which they were trying to rule. So the Constitution and the misuse is what I'm talking about here. Sir, one more thing, again, on the economic impact of such amendments which they bring in. It's a test for every one of us, whether it is one amendment today or another amendment tomorrow. Does it have an economic intent for the larger economic good, social intent, process, constitutional spirit? Let's see. Let's test each one of our acts, the amendments that we bring in, and then decide whether what we are doing is right. Sir, the Soviet model, which the Congress party copied under Prime Minister Nehru, continued with Indira Gandhi, was a model which did not do any good to this country, sir. C. Rajagopalachari, the socialism, that socialism was refashioned as Mahal Nobis model, the central command and control structure, the license, quota, Raj, were all part of this. And in that, C. Rajagopalachari writes, sir, to the Prime Minister, he says, in an open letter, he says, Nehru came to Madras on Tuesday with all the paraphernalia of Prime Minister of India and attempted to, in a speech, talk about Rajagopalachari and his principles. But here, in Swarajya magazine, he publishes it in 1962, February 17, and I quote from that article. I want an India clear of the atmosphere of fear in which it is now enveloped, 62, where honest men engaged in difficult tasks of production or trade can carry on their occupation without fear of ruin at the hands of officials, ministers, and party bosses. He says that, I want an India where talent and energy can find scope for play without having to cringe and obtain special individual permission from officials and ministers, and where their efforts will be judged by the open market of India. And so on. He goes on, sir. I want the corruption of this permit license Raj to go. He says that. So a member who was part of the Congress party himself writes to Pandit Nehru saying this cannot go on. Your socialism is ruining this country. The license permit Raj could not continue because you are leading to corruption. Sir, periodically, Congress questions, hey, BJP, RSS, Jansangh, what was your role during the freedom movement? We all know it and we've said it, but I want to ask the Congress, what is your role in the Arctic, India's economic freedom? What is India's economic growth? What is your effort in building economic strength of India? No wonder when we in 21 in our budget If that is not true, sir, why in 1980 onwards the Congress party itself wants to dump license quota Raj, 91 they want to reform, and then take the claim for it saying we are the ones we reformed. You didn't have to reform if it was so good. It was damaging the Indian economy, and socialism was therefore brought into the Constitution's preamble through the 42nd Act, Amendment Act, only to prove that they are doing right thing. Although that was not needed at all, because the directive principle of state policy has enough and more, and that is where I want to bring this one particular important observation, sir. The Nehru development model, written by Arvind Panagaria. Latest book. This will tell you, sir, from an academic perspective also, how the socialism, the control Raj, the license quota Raj of the Congress's 50 years of rule ruined our economy. Though the country did come to terms with its mistake and changed course in 1991, by then it had lost 4 precious decades. Moreover, the history built over these decades continued to haunt its development efforts even after the change of course. For one thing, the base income remained low. Given that the opportunity to grow rapidly had been missed in early decades. Therefore, even an acceleration in growth to 7 to 8% range on a sustained basis could not deliver genuine prosperity for another few decades. Moreover, 4 decades of patronage of socialist ideas and policies came to hardwire Indian politicians, bureaucrats, intellectuals, and even business people in ways that made a swift march to a market economy politically challenging. That's the reality of the policy of the Congress party, which they themselves came. We've reformed the country. They baggaged the country in 50 years, and later they wanted to claim that they are reforming and bringing prosperity to this country, which is not true. So therefore, sir, when Prime Minister Modi gives a call that Arctic, first of all, sir, with all this socialism, 42nd Amendment changing the preamble, the much promised Garibi Hatao has not delivered by them. If it's not been delivered by them, what did that socialism do to us? So when Prime Minister Modi says Vikasit Bharat 2047, we all should have to work together to make sure that that is done with all of our responsibilities intact, and such changes to the Constitution which they brought, which has only brought in decay for the Indian economy. I will not get into the details. Another paper from 2009, sir. Cato Institute Center for Global Liberty and Prosperity. What are we discussing? Yeah, we are discussing the Constitution and the mistakes done by the Congress party, as a result of which the Indian economy is suffering, sir. Socialism kills. The human cost of delayed economic reform in India, sir. I'll authenticate this and give it to you to show how Congress party's attempts have only weakened the Indian economy. Sir, we changed that by clearly saying that the budget will now very clearly focus on the Indian economy, and as a result of which we will see a lot of economic growth. I'm not getting into the detail of the budget speech 2021, so paragraph 86, those interested can see the thing. Sir, I'll come to this point about the Constituent Assembly, financial inclusion, economic justice. That is why I argued first, saying this declaration in the preamble, bringing socialism, was not warranted at all. There's enough and more said in the directive principle of states policy. Directive principle of state policy is adequate for us to do all the social economic justice related activity. But no, the Congress party was doing it for their political agenda rather than for the larger good. Sir, I like to say, sir, Ambedkar, sir, Dr. Ambedkar says on 19th November 1948, our objective in framing the Constitution is really twofold. Ambedkar says, sir, to lay down the form of political democracy, to lay down that our ideal is economic democracy, and also to prescribe that every government, whatever is in power, shall strive to bring about economic democracy. And a very clear, the directive principle, Dr. Ambedkar says this, the directive principles have a great value, for they lay down that our ideal is economic democracy, unquote. And this is exactly what Prime Minister Modi is doing. 54 crore citizens who once had no means are now being given extraordinary connection to banking. The Jan Dhan Yojana, principles guiding our democracy, equity, justice and opportunity. 50 crore mudra loans. 50 crore mudra loan accounts have created the pathway for micro entrepreneurs, street vendors and so on. Sir, Article 38 of the directive principle says the state shall strive to promote the welfare of the people by securing and protecting social order, by ensuring socio-economic political justice and by minimizing inequalities in income, status, facilities and opportunities. Article 39 also says very similar about adequate means of livelihood and ownership control. Article 46 about scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. So I just want to highlight how, because of the specific actions taken by our government, you find 1969, I go back, sir, for a minute. Mrs. Indira Gandhi on the bank nationalization said, the political situation in our country demands, quote, that banking facilities should be extended in an increasing measure to backward areas, to agriculture, to small-scale industry, and so on. And perhaps banking operations should be informed by a larger social purpose, unquote. But in spite of introducing socialism into the preamble, they did not achieve any of what Mrs. Indira Gandhi justified for bringing nationalization of the banks. They paid only lip service, sir. By 2011, census data reveals that less than 60% of Indian households had access to banking service. Bank accounts, sir, zero balance accounts were only 10.3 crores. By contrast, sir, 54 crore Jan Dhan accounts have been opened since 2014. 56% of the accounts belong to women. Similarly, pensions, insurance and so on, sir. PM Mudra, 50 crore sanctioned accounts, 68% are women. Stand Up India, 1 crore SC/ST women borrowers, 30,000 crore has been distributed, 2.5 lakh people, of whom 76% of women are benefiting. PM Swanidhi, sir, 50,000 rupees loan is given to 67 lakh street vendors, of whom 45% are women, 42% are OBCs, and so on. Sir, we repeatedly in Lok Sabha and here spoke about how former Prime Minister said, if I send 1 rupee down, only 15 paisa reaches. By bringing in technology and using DBT, Prime Minister Modi made sure that accounts will receive, the beneficiaries will receive their money directly into their account. 1 rupee means 1 rupee will reach them, and this has helped save 3.48 lakh crores of taxpayers' money. These are very important to say that directive principle of state policy, which has even more things for all of us to do, can bring in poverty alleviation, but not the Nara Garibi Hatao, which delivered nothing on poverty. So lastly, I'll pay my respects to the women who were part of the constitution makers. As I said, 15 out of 385 members were women. I would think you will indulge me when I read the names of these 50 women. Ammu Swaminathan, Annie Mascarenhas, Dakshayani Velayudan, Begum Aizaz Razul, Durgabai Deshmukh, Hansa Jivraj Mehta, Kamla Chaudhary, Leela Roy, Malti Chaudhary, Purnima Banerjee, Rajkumari Amrit Kaur, Renuka Ray, Sarojini Naidu, Sucheta Kriplani, and Vijayalakshmi Pandit were the prominent women who were part of the Constituent Assembly. So the contribution of these women in the constitution making is immense. I know after that, Pandit Vijayalakshmi Pandit scaled heights in diplomacy. Rajkumari Amit Kaur became the first woman to be a union cabinet minister. Durgabai Deshmukh was the founding member of the Planning Commission. Annie Mascarenhas and Renuka Ray served as ministers in their respective state governments. Sarojini Naidu and Sucheta Kriplani went on to become first female governor and chief minister respectively. So I also appreciate the immense role played by the All India Women's Congress, who have done extremely good work, Women's Conference, All India Women's Conference. And these women were all celebrated during Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, which we celebrated from 2022. The last observation I'd like to make, sir, it is very interesting that in this House, the first act that we passed is the reservation for women, which was the new act passed in the new parliament. I'd like to reiterate that Bharatiya Janata Party, my party, has always been committed for women and women's participation in politics. Even as early as 1994 in Vadodara National Convention, the BJP very clearly passed that seats must be reserved for women in both parliament and state assemblies. In 1994, sir. Then in 1998, BJP reiterated its commitment for women reservation by introducing it in the Lok Sabha. July 2003, BJP in its national executive in Raipur also passed a resolution to give reservation. 2007, BJP national executive approved 33% reservation for women. 2008 again, BJP amended its constitution so that its own office bearers will have 33% reservation for women, and I'm glad to say that I'm one of the beneficiaries of that reservation. And BJP has consistently supported women's reservation. In Rajya Sabha 2010, sir, I remember late Shri Arun Jaitley supported passionately to pass that. And in Rajya Sabha it was passed. But curiously, why that didn't go to the Lok Sabha, no one knows. And in the Lok Sabha, I think it was for reasons better known, but what was said in the public was some of the alliance partners were not favoring, and therefore the Indian National Congress did not have the courage to take it into the Lok Sabha at that time. BJP's Sankalp Patra of 2014 supported women's reservation. And again, Sankalp Patra before the 2019 election also very clearly supported. But I want to highlight the fact, sir, that in 84-89, Shri Rajiv Gandhi had 426 members in the Lok Sabha and 159 members in the Rajya Sabha. They did not have the conviction to pass the women's reservation bill at that time. Very clearly, they have been anti-women always. Shah Banu case is a very clear example. Sir, I would highlight the fact that although the credit is being taken for the Panchayat Reservation Act by Shri Rahul Gandhi and the dynasty, it was not him. It was P.V. Narasimha Rao who brought it and passed it on. But even then, it was only a lip service because no financial powers were given. Now, Honorable H.D. Deve Gowda ji, who former Prime Minister, is not here, but in 1996, there was during his time, the reservation bill was brought in. Nothing was supported by Congress at that time. Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji in 98, in 99, in 2002, 2003 brought it. No, the Congress wouldn't support. But the Congress's memory is very weak that they didn't support any of the bill all the time, whether it was Deve Gowda ji or whether it was Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. And then in 2008, even Dr. Manmohan Singh faltered. They managed to pass it in Rajya Sabha, which I said a minute ago, but did not go to the Lok Sabha for fear of their alliance partners threatening to walk out of the alliance, and they didn't want to lose power, but they wanted to save their kursi only, and therefore did not do justice to the women. Whereas Prime Minister Modi and BJP from the beginning stood by women, made the first change in the party and brought the reservation bill here. And therefore, if anybody is committed committed to the Constitution. It is BJP, Prime Minister Modi and this government. And therefore, people who are walking with a book in their hand, Constitution, sometimes not knowing that inside there are Kora Kagas, nothing printed. They're not even opening it to see whether it is there. But they're walking around with this book, should know that they are the ones who repeatedly have failed the cause of the Constitution of India. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, to accommodate members willing to participate in the discussion and ensure sufficient time, if the House agrees, the lunch hour may be skipped today and tomorrow. And if required, I will take a call to increase the time further. Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Shri Mallikarjun Kharge.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university in the recently released Education World Rankings. A testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked standards in education.
हो गई, हमारे पोते को हम कहाँ रखे हुए हैं कि मार दी है कि जिंदा है, वो भी हम नहीं देख पा रहे हैं। हमारी यही गुहार है कि हमारा पोता हमको देखने को हमारे पास रहे, और कोई गुहार नहीं। खाली वीडियो कॉलिंग पर हमने देखा है उसको, अपने गोदी में कभी नहीं। एक दादा के लिए उसका पोता अपने बेटे से भी बढ़कर होता है। हो गई, हमारे पोते को हम कहाँ रखे हुए हैं कि मार दी है कि जिंदा है, वो भी हम नहीं देख पा रहे हैं। हमारी यही गुहार है कि हमारा पोता हमको देखने को और हमारे पास रहे, और कोई गुहार नहीं। हमारी कानून व्यवस्था को हम धन्यवाद देते हैं, जो कम से कम मेरी गुहार उन लोग सुन करके और इतना बड़ा हमको राहत दिए हैं। ये बहुत बड़ी राहत की बात है, कम से कम उन लोग गिरफ्तार तो है। यही कहना है कि पोता हमको चाहिए। यदि हमारे प्रधानमंत्री हैं मोदी जी, योगी जी है, नीतीश जी है, तेजस्वी जी है, और जो हमारे नेतागण है, रामनाथ जी हमारे बगल के हैं। अच्छा, हमको गुहार उनसे यही है कि मेरा पोता हमको मिले, और कोई गुहार नहीं है हमको।
पोता से आपने कभी फिर इधर बातचीत हुई?
हम तो कभी गए नहीं बेंगलोर, हम कैसे देखते? खाली वीडियो कॉलिंग पर हमने देखा है उसको, अपने गोदी में कभी नहीं। एक दादा के लिए उसका पोता अपने बेटे से भी बढ़कर होता है, और हम अपना दुख किसी को बोलते भी नहीं थे। यहाँ का आदमी को कभी हमको दुखी नहीं देखा होगा। अपना गम को हम भी छिपाए हुए थे, जैसे मेरा बेटा छिपाए हुए।
अहमद फराज की मत कत्ल करो आवाज है उसका नाम। तुम अपने अंकितों के नेज़े हर दिल में उतार जाते हो, हर दिल में उतारे जाते हो। हम लोग मोहब्बत वाले हैं, तुम खंजर क्यों लहराते हो? हम लोग मोहब्बत वाले हैं, तुम खंजर क्यों लहराते हो? इस शहर में नगमे बहने दो, बस्ती में हमें भी रहने दो। हम पालनहार है फूलों के, हम पालनहार है फूलों के, हम खुशबू के रखवाले हैं। तुम किसका लहू पीने आए? तुम किसका लहू पीने आए? हम प्यार सिखाने वाले हैं। इस शहर में फिर क्या देखोगे, इस शहर में फिर क्या देखोगे जब हर यहाँ मर जाएगा, जब तेग पे लय कट जाएगी, जब शेर सफर कर जाएगा, जब कत्ल हुआ सूर साजों का, जब काल पड़ा आवाजों का, जब शहर खंडर बन जाएगा, जब शहर खंडर बन जाएगा, फिर किस पर संग उठाओगे, संग यानी पत्थर, फिर किस पर संग उठाओगे, अपने चेहरे आईनों में जब देखोगे डर जाओगे। तो मैं ये इसलिए कह रहा हूँ, आज की स्थिति, आज की परिस्थिति जो है, हमको बताना पड़ता है कि कैसा इस संविधान के तहत हुकूमत चलाने वाले लोग कोट करके आगे का, पीछे का, बीच में का सब बोलते रहते हैं। तो उन्होंने बहुत आपत्ति उठाई सोशलिज्म पे। मैं यहाँ से शुरू करूँगा कि ये जो है संविधान में जो प्रियम्बल में लिखा है और जिन लोगों ने कॉन्स्टिट्यूंट असेंबली में लिखा है और इसको सर्वसम्मति से जो पास हुआ है उस पर भी आपत्ति जता रहे हैं, तो आप ही सोचिए ये कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के फेवर में है क्या अगेंस्ट में है। मैं देखूं, अब उनको मालूम है, वी द पीपल ऑफ इंडिया हैविंग solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic and to secure all citizens justice, social, economic and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity of integrity of the nation. सर, ये तो संविधान में नवंबर 26th डे ऑफ नवंबर 1949 में ये हमने स्वीकार किया है। जब हमने ये स्वीकार किया है, इसके तहत हमको चलना चाहिए।
All right, we'll come back to the live proceedings underway in the Parliament as Mallikarjun Kharge is speaking. For the moment, also big breaking news coming in as Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's files that had been taken by Sonia Gandhi has now been raised into a huge issue. As it was also mentioned in the Lok Sabha, Union Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, who's ensured that the House investigates this matter. He has demanded that there must be a thorough investigation on Nehru's files that had been taken by Sonia Gandhi. Culture Minister Gajendra Singh Shekhawat, who replied on the question that suggestion taken into consideration and investigation can be done. This matter that has been raked up by the BJP of files that were filled in nearly 51 cartons were taken away by Sonia Gandhi and have still not been returned. Now, this allegedly also includes letters that were written by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to Edwina Mountbatten. And let's listen into the responses coming in from the BJP as a notice was submitted in the Lok Sabha on the missing files.
माननीय अध्यक्ष जी, प्रधानमंत्री संग्रहालय एवं पुस्तकालय, प्राइम मिनिस्टर म्यूजियम एंड लाइब्रेरी की एक वार्षिक आम बैठक एजीएम में इस मुद्दे को उठाया गया था कि भारत के प्रथम प्रधानमंत्री पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू और कुछ महत्वपूर्ण व्यक्तित्व जैसे एडवीना माउंटबेटन, जगजीवन राम, जयप्रकाश नारायण जी के मध्य पत्राचार हुआ। मगर वर्ष 2024 के आरंभ में इस एजीएम की मीटिंग अर्थात कार्यवाही वृतांत में ये उल्लेख भी है कि एक व्यक्ति एमवी राजन वर्ष मार्च 2008 में इस संस्थान में आए और कुछ दस्तावेजों को चिन्हित किया गया। इन चिन्हित दस्तावेजों को इस संस्थान के तत्कालीन निदेशक की अनुमति से मई 2008 में तत्कालीन यूपीए अध्यक्षा को 51 कार्टन बॉक्स में भरकर भेज दिया गया। सभी दस्तावेज हमारे राष्ट्र के इतिहास को समझने के लिए अत्यंत आवश्यक है। मैं चाहता हूं माननीय मंत्री जी से, सरकार से अनुरोध है कि संस्कृति मंत्रालय इस मामले की सत्यता की जांच करे। पूर्व प्रधानमंत्री पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू से जुड़े इन सभी कागजातों को वापस प्रधानमंत्री संग्रहालय में उपलब्ध कराएं।
माननीय सदस्य प्लीज, आप मंत्री जी जवाब।
माननीय अध्यक्ष महोदय, क्योंकि प्रश्न संदर्भित प्रश्न से सम्मानीय सदस्य ने जो प्रश्न पूछा वो कहीं संबद्ध नहीं है। उनका सुझाव है, सुझाव मैंने लिख करके रखा है, यथाचित कार्रवाई उस पर की जा सकती है।
And several responses coming in from the BJP demanding an investigation into those missing files, also questioning as to how Sonia Gandhi could take such important files and how it was sent to her.
You to say about the PMML and the historian Rizwan Qadri written a letter to Rahul Gandhi where he says that the discussion and the letters between Edwina Mountbatten and Jawaharlal Nehru is in possession of Sonia Gandhi and the country wants it back.
So the property which was country's property before, I mean these letters which Sonia Gandhi took back from the Nehru Memorial Museum and Library in 2008 were in possession of the country, were in possession of the library before 2008. Just before digitization, all these letters in 51 cartons were retrieved from the library, what now is the PMML, Prime Minister's Library and Museum. It had been retrieved. So what was the reason as to why the correspondence between Jawaharlal Nehru and Edwina Mountbatten, the correspondence between Jawaharlal Nehru and Jayaprakash Narayan, these need to be kept in dark, these need to be kept in secrecy, these need not come to the public domain. What was the reason as to why Sonia Gandhi acted in this way? And today Rizwan Qadri, a known historian and a member of PMML, has written a letter to the same effect that this should be returned via Rahul Gandhi, the LOP.
Do you see this now, the letters which are in possession of Sonia Gandhi, the letters which were exchanged between Jawaharlal Nehru and Edwina Mountbatten? The PMML is saying that those letters are the country property and it should be returned. They have written a letter to Rahul Gandhi.
Why Godse's family and Godse's channels are very eager to know about these kind of things. We all know that the anger Godse's have it on Gandhi and Nehru. It's a diversionary tactics from the real issue, and we will never allow the diversionary tactics. This is it's all known that Nehru's letter must be with the Nehru family, not with the Godse family.
One more thing, we spoke to Sambit Patra, BJP leader. He's saying that what is there to hide? What is Congress hiding? The letters which are exchanged between Edwina and Jawaharlal Nehru, what is the content of the letter that they don't want to reveal it to the public?
These half-baked friends who speaks about who becomes spokespersons of BJP must read Nehru's letters. There are volumes of Nehru's letters as books. We will send one copy of the Nehru's letters books to those kind of half-baked friends.
They are planning to take this issue in the parliament. They are saying that this issue will be taken up in the parliament as this concerns the country and the people.
We all know that the parliament is one-sided. It allows the chairs allows only the BJP's wing, BJP's speeches. They don't allow the opposition voices to be heard. Channels as well as the parliament are becoming biased, which is very dangerous for the democracy.
Indian Army along with the Jammu and Kashmir Police has foiled a major narcotics bid along the line of control in the Nashara sector of Rajouri and have arrested 2 local smugglers along with a 5.5 kilogram of heroin, the international market worth of which is more than 25 crore. For more, stay tuned to Republic TV right after this short break.
उस दिन सनसेट देखने छज्जे पे चढ़ा, टूट गया।
हाँ, तो किसने बोला घर की दीवार पे रॉक क्लाइंबिंग करने को?
सफीना बदतमीजी।
समझ गया। मेरे पास आप दोनों की प्रॉब्लम की मेडिसिन है। इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, और घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
Travis Head is a name that India have always been wary of. No other player in the recent times have tormented India as compared to the Australian southpaw. Head's exploits against India started last year in the World Test Championship finals, where he led Australia to a stunning victory at the Oval in England. He later followed it up by scoring a century against the Indians in the 2023 ODI World Cup final. Come to the Border Gavaskar Trophy, Head scored a stunning 100 in the second test match of the series in Adelaide and has slammed yet another ton in the ongoing test match which is being played at the Gabba. India's plans have completely failed against Head and his skills with the bat in hand. Last time India played at the Gabba, they had defeated the Aussies to seal the Border Gavaskar Trophy series, but this time around, the outcome might just be a bit different. Travis Head has been absolutely phenomenal in the Border Gavaskar Trophy so far and is scoring at an average that is in excess of 100. With his stellar 100 at the iconic Gabba, Head has now scripted an unique feat that no other cricketer in history has. Head has scored a king pair and a century at the same venue in the same calendar year. Earlier this year, in January, Head registered a king pair against West Indies in a pink ball test at the Gabba. Head was cleaned up by Kemar Roach for a golden duck in the first innings of that.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university in the recently released Education World Rankings, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked standards in education.
After weeks of intense negotiations, the controversy surrounding the 2025 Champions Trophy appears to be nearing a resolution. According to sources within the Board of Control for Cricket in India, the International Cricket Council and the Pakistan Cricket Board, a final decision is expected soon. Pakistan will remain the official host of the championship, but with a twist. 5 out of 15 games, including the highly anticipated India-Pakistan match, will be played in a second country, likely the United Arab Emirates. The BCCI and PCB have reportedly reached a middle ground on the issue of hosting ICC events in India, which was a major point of contention. The PCB may have been offered an honourable exit route, allowing them to present the outcome as a victory. Pakistan may also be allotted a global ICC women's event in the 2027-31 cycle as part of the agreement. The PCB had initially opposed the hybrid model, with Chairman Mohsin Naqvi expressing his concerns publicly. However, it appears that his concerns have been addressed, and some form of monetary compensation may also have been granted. The ICC is expected to convene a meeting on Saturday to formalize the agreement. The meeting will likely provide a stamp of approval for the agreed upon terms, bringing an end to the prolonged saga. The resolution of the Champions Trophy controversy will come as a relief to cricket fans worldwide. The tournament is expected to be a major success with the hybrid model.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Good afternoon and thank you for tuning in. You're watching Live and Breaking. I'm Suesha Samant, and yes, a fiery Samvidhan debate in the Rajya Sabha. Questions being asked by the BJP on those letters that were written by Jawaharlal Nehru to Edwina Mountbatten and where those cartons are that were taken by Sonia Gandhi. This that has stirred a controversy in the Lok Sabha. We continue to get you all these important sequences and political reactions. First, a quick check of the headlines. Prime Minister memorial writes to LOP Rahul Gandhi seeks return of Nehru's letters to Lord Mountbatten taken by Sonia Gandhi.
तो आनंद फानन में डिजिटाइजेशन से ठीक पहले सोनिया गांधी जी 51 कार्टन्स चिट्ठी नेहरू जी का लेके चली गई, आखिर क्यों?
BJP escalates the attack on Congress, says Sonia Gandhi must answer on why letters were taken from the museum in 2008. FM Sitaraman leads BJP's charge in Rajya Sabha, claims freedom of speech was crushed under Nehru. All-out war between NC and Congress over EVM tampering. Congress hits out at Omar, asks if stance changed after he became CM. Nation awaits world chess champion D. Gukesh's touchdown in Chennai shortly. 73-year-old tabla maestro Ustad Zakir Hussain passes away in a hospital in San Francisco after battling heart ailments. And we now get you details of more breaking news coming in. We are learning that Republic TV has spoken to historian Rizwan Qadri on the Nehru letters controversy. He has stated that there are several important documents in those 51 cartons that were sent to Sonia Gandhi and also questioned the safety of those documents, citing misuse of power. 51 cartons that were taken away by Sonia Gandhi. BJP also questioning the manner in which they were taken, and most importantly, why those documents were not sent back. What were those documents all about? It has been alleged that those are letters that Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru had written back in the day to Lord Mountbatten and Edwina Mountbatten. But what is it in those letters that the Congress is allegedly trying to hide? Let's listen in to that response.
रिजवान जी, थैंक यू सो मच फॉर स्पीकिंग टू रिपब्लिक टीवी। हमने आपका लेटर देखा जो आपने राहुल गांधी जी को लिखा हुआ है। पहले ही संक्षेप में थोड़ा हमारे दर्शकों को समझाइए कि ये जो 51 कार्टन्स की जो बात हो रही है वो कहाँ से आए, मतलब ये डॉक्यूमेंट्स क्या थे, किस तरह से निकाले गए थे। आपने ये मांग की है कि ये डॉक्यूमेंट्स वापस से लेकर आए जाए जिससे कि पब्लिक डोमेन में आए, लोगों के पास इसका एक्सेस हो। क्या एग्जैक्टली ये मुद्दा है, क्या लेटर आपने ये लिखा है राहुल गांधी जी?
प्राइम मिनिस्टर्स मेमोरियल म्यूजियम इन लाइब्रेरी, जो पहले नेहरू मेमोरियल म्यूजियम और लाइब्रेरी के नाम से जानी जाती थी, यह शोध संस्थान देश ने दुनिया में अपने संशोधन के लिए अपने सोर्स मटेरियल के जानी जाती है। यहाँ पर भारत के पहले प्रधानमंत्री पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू का पूरा कलेक्शन होने के साथ साथ आज़ादी के संग्राम के अंदर जिन्होंने योगदान दिया या देश के विकास के लिए जिन्होंने योगदान दिया, उनका सारा पूरा कलेक्शन यहाँ पर संग्रहित है। और उसके साथ साथ कलेक्टेड वर्क्स ऑफ महात्मा गांधी जी का भी पूरा कलेक्शन आपको ओरिजिनल यहाँ पर देखने को मिलता है। तो ये कलेक्शन के अंदर नेहरू पेपर्स पहले देखने के लिए आपको उसके डोनर फैमिली के मेंबर श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी जी का परमिशन लेना होता था, और उसके बाद जब 2019 में एज ए मेंबर मुझे नॉमिनेट किया गया तो मेरी खुद की भी बहुत लंबे अरसे से तमन्ना थी कि इस शोध प्रतिष्ठान में जो लोग भी आए उनको धुतकारा न जाए, उनको परमिशन के अंदर कोई भी तकलीफ न हो और सरलता से वो अपना शोध कार्य कर सके। जैसे अभिलेख पटल पे करोड़ों की तादाद में रिसर्च मटेरियल आज नेशनल आर्काइव्स ऑफ इंडिया ने अवेलेबल कराया है, उसी तरह इस संस्था की भी एक अपनी वेबसाइट डेवलप हो और संशोधक कहीं से भी उसको एक्सेस कर सके। पर मेरी बहुत लंबे अरसे से एक तमन्ना थी कि मैं पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू और लेडी माउंटबेटन एडविना माउंटबेटन का जो कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस है उसको देखूं। बाद में पता चला कि वो उपलब्ध नहीं है। जब इसके बारे में हमारे सीनियर मेंबर और हमारे बुजुर्ग राम बहादुर राय जी ने डिटेल में बताया कि भूतकाल में भी उन्होंने प्रयास किए थे और एक पुलिस केस होने की वजह से श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी जी द्वारा ये पूरा कलेक्शन इस शोध प्रतिष्ठान को वापस दिया गया था और जो दिखाया नहीं जाता था। तो मैं चाहता था कि ये रिसर्च मटेरियल का अभ्यास किया जाए तो जिससे पता चले कि वास्तविकता में अंदर क्या दिया गया है। जेपी अपने ज़माने के यूथ लीडर थे, उनका पंडित जी के साथ क्या कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस था, ये पूरा कलेक्शन अगर हम डिटेल में अगर हम देखते हैं, जैसे मनुबेन गांधी का जब मैंने डायरी का अभ्यास किया तो मुझे ऐसी बहुत सी जानकारी मिली जो आम इतिहास में नहीं पढ़ाई जाती। आम इतिहास में ऐसा नहीं बताया गया हैगा कि सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल पे 1939 में बड़ौदा के अंदर वडोदरा में और भावनगर में जानलेवा हमला हुआ था। भावनगर के हमले के पीछे तो मुस्लिम लीग की खुली साजिश थी, पूरे कॉन्स्पिरेसी थी, सरदार की जान लेने की वो अखी बात थी। जब हमने इसको देखा, उसका जजमेंट देखा, नगीना मस्जिद वाला केस हमने जब उसको देखा तब पता चला कि अरे ये तो बहुत बड़ी एक साजिश थी। तो इसी तरह से ये जितना भी सोर्स मटेरियल है इसको हम पढ़ेंगे। मेरी तो इच्छा ये थी कि मैं खुद ही इसको अभ्यास करूं क्योंकि सरदार वल्लभ भाई पटेल का ये सार्ध शताब्दी वर्ष है, उनकी 150वीं जन्म जयंती मनाई जाती है। तो महात्मा गांधी सरदार के रिलेशंस को समझना है, उसके साथ साथ पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू और सरदार पटेल के रिलेशंस को समझना है। महात्मा गांधी, सरदार पटेल और पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू के रिलेशंस को समझना है। तो सब कलेक्शंस देखना होता है, आपको हर एंगल से देखना।
एब्सोल्युटली, एंड एज एकेडमिशियंस हमें ये बहुत ऑफ कोर्स ये एक उत्सुकता रहती है देखने के लिए, क्योंकि आप जो इंस्टेंसेस बता रहे हैं हिस्टोरिकली काफ़ी सिग्निफिकेंस है। और जो आप कम्युनिकेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, भले वो एडविना माउंटबैटन की बात हो या जयप्रकाश नारायण की बात हो, तो पहले थोड़ा सा रिवाइंड करते हैं कि जो 51 जो कार्टून जो बात हो रही है, जो सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स की बात हो रही है, ये कहाँ से निकाले गए थे, कैसे सोनिया गांधी जी के उसमें आए हैं, ये किस तरह से ये पूरा करस्पॉन्डेंस था, व्हाट डू वी नो सो फार?
ये सारा कलेक्शन आज का प्रधानमंत्री संग्रहालय जो एक ज़माने में नेहरू मेमोरियल के नाम से जाना जाता था, वहाँ पर ये सारा कलेक्शन संग्रहित था। ये ऑफिशियल कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस से पता चलता है कि 2008 में उनके प्रतिनिधि वहाँ पर आए थे और उन्होंने जो ऑफिशियल कॉरेस्पॉन्डेंस को अलग किया, उसके बाद जो अलग जो दूसरा कलेक्शन है पर्सनल पेपर्स का जो डोनेट कर दिया गया था, ये संग्रहालय को दे दिया गया था और वहीं पर ही ये संग्रहित था। उसको ये 2008 की साल में विड्रॉ किया गया है।
बाय हू?
श्रीमती सोनिया गांधी जी के कहने पे उन्हीं के प्रतिनिधि ने ये विड्रॉ किया है। ये ऑफिशियल मिनट्स के अंदर ये पहली बार ये मेंशन किया गया है।
मिनट्स के अंदर आप बता रहे हैं कि उसमें पूरा जिक्र किया गया है कि किस तरह से सोनिया गांधी जी ने वापस से वो डॉक्यूमेंट्स लिए थे। तो अब ये सवाल उठता है कि ये ऐसा क्यों उन्होंने किया और ये क्या वो कर सकते थे, क्योंकि आप बता रहे 2008 में, तो इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग ऑब्वियसली उनकी सरकार थी पावर में, तो किस तरह से क्या व्हाट वाज द एंटायर प्रोसीजर, वाज इट अलाउड टू बी डन सो, और ये क्या था ऐसे डॉक्यूमेंट्स में दैट दे नीडेड टू विड्रॉ इट?
ये जब तक डॉक्यूमेंट मैंने कभी देखे नहीं, मैं पढ़ूंगा तभी पता चलेगा इसके अंदर क्या है। हम मानते हैं वो सब चीज़ नहीं भी हो सकती, जब आप देखेंगे उसका स्टडी करेंगे। जैसे मुझे अभी पता चला कि शाह नवाज भुट्टो, वो तो पुराने मुस्लिम लीग के नुमाइंदे थे और उनको मोहम्मद अली जीना ने बहुत ही एकदम टेकफुली जूनागढ़ के अंदर बहुत पहले से प्लांट कर दिया गया था डेप्यूटी दीवान के तौर पे, और इसी वजह से उन्होंने ये सारा खेल खेला था। और जूनागढ़ की करीबन 85% बस्ती आबादी वो हिंदुओं की थी, वहाँ मुस्लिम की आबादी भी नहीं थी। स्ट्रेटेजिकल भी उसकी इम्पोर्टेंस बहुत थी। तो ये सारी चीज़ें जब आप देखेंगे कि इसके पीछे की साजिश क्या थी, तब आपको पता चलेगा। ये कलेक्शन मैं देखूंगा तब मुझे पता चलेगा कि इसमें क्या था। तो ये यहाँ पर बरसों से था।
Absolutely. We don't know कि अभी डॉक्यूमेंट्स में क्या है, मुद्दा वही है कि हमें देखना है। पर ये जो मैं आपसे पूछा कि प्रोसीजरली क्या उनको इजाज़त थी कि वो वापस ले पाएं या क्या एग्जैक्टली?
ये तो इसके एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव साइट वाले बता सकते हैं। वास्तविकता में आपने एक बार डोनेट कर दिया, आपने दे दिया, तो सैद्धांतिक आप वापस नहीं ले सकते। आपने दे दिया, इन्हें दे दिया। और ये संस्था की स्थापना ही संशोधन कार्य को, और खास करके पंडित जवाहरलाल नेहरू और स्वतंत्रता संग्राम के जितने भी सेनानी हैं, उनका सोर्स मटेरियल इधर इकट्ठा हो और संशोधक उस पर काम करे, हमारे आज़ादी के संग्राम पे काम हो, इसी वजह से ये संस्था बनाई गई थी। और इसी वजह से यहाँ पर ये सारा कलेक्शन है। आज एक डोनर ने कहा हमारा कलेक्शन वापस दे दो, कोई डोनर कंडीशन के साथ देता है, कंडीशनल नहीं हो सकता। आपने डोनेट कर दिया तो अनकंडीशनल डोनेट हो जाता है।
और ये जैसा कि आपने एक जिक्र भी किया है आपके लेटर में कि इट माइट बी इम्पोर्टेंट टू द नेहरू फैमिली, बट दिस इज ऑल्सो पार्ट ऑफ आवर कंट्रीज।
यस, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। ये राष्ट्र की धरोहर है, और राष्ट्र की धरोहर आपको चाहिए कि आप खुद अलग माध्यम से संशोधकों के लिए उपलब्ध कराएं। मैंने जैसे आपसे रिक्वेस्ट किया है, तो आप मुझे परमिशन दीजिए, हम आपके वहीं बैठ के उसका अभ्यास करेंगे। अगर आप इजाज़त दें तो हम उसकी सॉफ्ट कॉपी से स्कैन करेंगे, या आप खुद ही हमको अपने किसी आदमी से स्कैन करा के उसकी कॉपी उपलब्ध।
கண்டிப்பாக அது ஒரு டிஃபிகல்ட் மூமெண்ட் தான். பட் ஆனால் லைக் 14 கேம் மேட்ச்சில் கண்டிப்பாக இந்த சின்ன செட்பேக்ஸ் இருக்கும்னு எனக்கு தெரியும். அது லைக் அதுக்கு நான் ப்ரிப்பேர்டாகவும் இருந்தேன். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் கேம் பிகாஸ் ஆஃப் த லைக் வேர்ல்ட் சாம்பியன்ஷிப் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் போய் ஆடுறோன்றதுனால கண்டிப்பாக அந்த நர்வ்ஸ் இருக்கும்னு எனக்கு தெரியும். அந்த நர்வ்ஸ் லைக் அந்த கேமில் நான் கொஞ்சம் நர்வ்ஸாக இருந்தேன், கொஞ்சம் எக்ஸைட்டட் ஆகிட்டு. லைக் ஐ வாஸ் மேக்கிங் லைக் நிறைய நல்ல டெசிஷன்ஸ் நான் பண்ணல. ஸோ எனக்கு அது நடக்கும்னு நடக்க வாய்ப்பு இருக்குன்னு எனக்கு தெரியும். அதனால ஐ வாஸ் ப்ரிப்பேர்ட். இருந்தாலும் எனக்கு கொஞ்சம் அந்த ஸ்கேரியாக தான் இருந்தது அந்த மூமெண்ட்டு. பட் ஆனால் அதுக்கப்புறம் நான் ஒன்ஸ் ஐ காட் இன் டு லைக் செகண்ட் கேம் ட்ரா பண்ணிவிட்டு தேர்ட் கேம் ஐ பிளேட் அ குட் கேம் அண்ட் ஒன் அந்த ரிதம் வந்தோன்னே எனக்கு அந்த கான்ஃபிடன்ஸ் திருப்பி வந்துருச்சு. எனக்கு அது லைக் டை பிரேக் போக சான்ஸ் இருக்குன்னு எனக்கு தெரியும். ஏன்னா இந்த லெவலில் இந்த மாடர்ன் செஸ் ஹை லெவலில் ஆடும்போது ஒரு வின் பண்ணுறதும் ரொம்ப கஷ்டம். ஏன்னா ஓப்பனிங் ப்ரிப்ரேஷன் நிறைய டீப்பாக இருக்கும். அப்புறம் டிஃபென்ஸ் ஆப்போனண்டோட டிஃபென்ஸும் ரொம்ப ரொம்ப ஸ்டிஃபாக இருக்கும். அதனால் ஒரு கேம் வின் பண்ணுறதே கஷ்டமான விஷயம் இந்த லெவலில். ஸோ அதனால் டை பிரேக்ஸ் போகும்னு எனக்கு தெரியும். பட் இருந்தாலும் 14 கேம்ஸ்ன்றதுனால எனக்கு சான்சஸ் வரும்னு எனக்கு தெரியும். அதனால நான் ஃபஸ்ட்டு லைக் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஹாஃப் அப்போ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஹாஃப் அப்போ நான் செகண்ட் இந்த டை பிரேக்ஸ் பற்றி நான் யோசிக்கல. பட் ஆனால் செகண்ட் ஹாஃபில் லைக் 2 கேம் இருக்கும்போது லைக் 2-3 கேம் இருக்கும்போது எனக்கு தெரியும் இது போக சான்ஸ் இருக்குது. பட் ஆனால் லைக் டை பிரேக்ஸ் ஆல்தோ இட்ஸ் லைக் ரேபிட் அண்ட் பிளிட்ஸ், இது மேட்ச் அந்த மொமெண்டம் இருந்ததுனால இட்ஸ் லைக் அந்த டை பிரேக்ஸும் டிஃப்ரெண்ட்டாக இருக்கும். ஏன்னா மேட்ச்சில் லைக் அந்த ஹியூஜ் ஓப்பனிங் ப்ரிப்பரேஷன், அந்த ஓப்பனண்ட் அந்த கிளாசிக்கல் பொசிஷனில் யாருக்கு அந்த மொமெண்டம் இருக்குது அதெல்லாம் கூட ரொம்ப இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். ஸோ டை பிரேக்ஸ் எனக்கு லைக் நான் கிளாசிக்கல்லே ஃபினிஷ் பண்ணணும்னு எனக்கு லைக் ஐடியலி அதுதான் நாங்கள் எய்ம் பண்ணிட்டு இருந்தேன். பட் டை பிரேக்ஸ் போனாலும் எனக்கு என்னால் அது லைக் ஐ கேன் ப்ளே வெரி குட் செஸ்ன்னு எனக்கு தெரியும். ஸோ அதை பற்றி நான் ரொம்ப கவலைப்படுறேன்.
அவர் ஸ்டார்டிங்லேருந்து ட்ராவை நோக்கி தான் டீம் வேரி 14th கேம் ப்ளே பண்ணாரு. வின்னிங் மூமெண்ட்ஸ் அவ்வளோவா இல்லை அப்படின்ற மாதிரி 30 மூவ் வரைக்கும் அது ட்ராவை நோக்கி தான் செஞ்சுட்டு இருந்துச்சு. ஸோ நீங்கள் அதை ஃபீல் பண்ணீங்களா மேட்ச் விளையாடிட்டு இருக்கப்ப ட்ராவை நோக்கி தான் டீம் வேரி விளையாடுறாரு அப்படின்னு, நம்மளை எப்படியாவது டை பிரேக்கர் கூட்டு போக போகிறாரு அப்படின்ற மாதிரி எதுவும் திங்க் பண்ணீங்களா?
அவர் ஆக்சுவலாக 14 கேமில் அவருக்கு ஒயிட் பீசஸ் இருந்ததுனால அவர் ஆக்சுவலாக ட்ராக்கு ஆடலன்னு நான் நினைக்கிறேன். ஏன்னா அவர் ஆடின ஓப்பனிங் although இட்ஸ் நாட் லைக் அவர் ரொம்ப ரிஸ்க் எடுக்கல. பட் ஆனால் கேம் ஆட தான் ட்ரை பண்ணார். அதனால ஆனால் அந்த ஓப்பனிங்கில் நான் அவரை சர்ப்ரைஸ் பண்ணேன். அதுக்கப்புறம் நான் ஈக்குவலைஸ் பண்ணிட்ட அப்புறம் அவருக்கு லைக் அவர் லைக் அந்த பொசிஷனை அண்டர் எஸ்டிமேட் பண்ணிட்டாருன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். ஏன்னா அவர் அந்த பாயிண்ட் சாக்ரிஃபைஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இந்த என் கேம் டிஃபெண்ட் பண்ண ட்ரை பண்ணார். பட் ஆனால் எனக்கு முன்னாடியே தெரிஞ்சது ஆல்தோ இட்ஸ் ட்ரா இட்ஸ் லைக் ரொம்ப கஷ்டமான டிஃபென்ஸ் அவருக்குன்னு தெரிஞ்சது. ஸோ
எல்லாருமே அப்புறம் செஸ் பிளேயர் ஆகணும்னு ஆசை நிறைய பேருக்கு. நீங்கள் இந்த ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் ஜேர்னி ஃபுல்லாக நீங்கள் அப்படியே இந்த ஜேர்னியை நீங்கள் எப்படி பார்க்குறீங்க? வேர்ல்ட் சாம்பியன் ஆகுது இது எவ்வளோ ஒரு கடினமான பாதையாக இருக்கும்.
செஸ்ஸுமே கிடையாது, எந்த ஃபீல்டு எடுத்தாலுமே கண்டிப்பாக உங்களுக்கு ஃபஸ்ட்டு பேஷன் இருக்கணும், இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருக்கணும், ப்ளஸ் ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் கண்டிப்பாக இருக்கணும். இல்லைன்னா எதுவும் பண்ண முடியாது. இவனுக்கும் செஸ்ஸு நாங்கள் ஃபஸ்ட்டு வந்தப்பே நாங்கள் டிசைட் பண்ணோம். நாங்கள் 2 பேருமே டாக்டர்ஸ் தான் இருப்பாங்க. இவனை நாங்கள் ஒரு ஸ்போர்ட்ஸில் எக்ஸ்ட்ரா கரிக்குலராக வீட்டில் ஹாபி ஃபிசிக்கல் ஆக்டிவிட்டியாக தான் ட்ரை பண்ணிடுவோம். எங்களுக்கு வேலம்மாள் ஸ்கூலில் இந்த எக்ஸ்ட்ரா கரிக்குலர் ஆக்டிவிட்டீஸ் எவ்ரி இயர் அந்த சம்மர் கேம்ப்லாம் நடக்கும். ஸோ அதில் இருக்கிற ஆப்ஷன்ஸில் எங்களுக்கு வசதி, எங்களோட ஒர்க்குக்கும் இவனை வீட்டுக்கு கூப்பிட்டு போகிறோம், ஹாஸ்பிட்டல் போகிறது, அந்த வசதிக்காக தான் செஸ்ஸில் போட்டுருக்காங்க. எதுவும் பிளான் பண்ணி பண்ணுவோம். பட் ஒன்ஸ் அவனுக்கு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருந்ததுன்னு தெரிஞ்சதுக்கப்புறமா அவன் ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் பண்ணிக்கலாம். அவனுக்கு இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் இருந்ததுனால அவன் ஹார்ட் ஒர்க் பண்ணுவான். ஆஸ் எ பேரண்ட் நாங்கள் அவனுக்கு எவ்வளோ எக்ஸ்போஷர் கொடுக்க முடியுமோ அதுதான் ஐ கேன் சஜஸ்ட் டு அதர் பேரண்ட்ஸ். உங்கள் குழந்தைங்களுக்கு எது இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட்டோ அதில் பண்ணுறதுக்கு எவ்வளோ எக்ஸ்போஷர் கொடுக்க முடியுன்றதை நம்ம ட்ரை பண்ணி அது பண்ணிடுவோம். அதுதான் பேரண்ட்ஸ்
வாட் இட் டேக்ஸ் டு பி வேர்ல்ட் சாம்பியன் சார்? ஏன்னா நீங்கள் நிறைய இடத்துல சொல்லியிருக்கீங்க ஏர்போர்ட்டில் கண்டினியூஸாக டோர்னமெண்ட்ஸ் அந்த ஹார்ட் ஒர்க்
நத்திங் ஸ்ட்ரிக்டாக இதுதான் ஒரு ஃபார்முலா கிடையாது சார். ஒவ்வொருத்தவங்களுக்கு ஒன்று கிளிக் ஆகும். எங்களை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் இவனுக்கு சில பேர் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இப்பயுமே டாப் பிளேயர்ஸ் 2 மாதத்துக்கு ஒரு டோர்னமெண்ட் தான் ஆடுவாங்க. ரொம்ப ஸ்ட்ரெயின் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க. ஏன்னா தேர் பாலிசி இஸ் லைக் ப்ரிப்பேர் பண்ண. இவனை பொறுத்த வரைக்கும் இவனுக்கு கேம்ஸ் தான் அவனுக்கு ப்ராக்டிஸ். ஆடி தான் அவன் ஆட்டத்தில் அவன் லாஸ் பண்ணதுலேருந்து கற்றுக்குவான், அவன் வின் பண்ணதுலேருந்து. ஸோ அவனோட ஸ்டைல் அவனுக்கு ரொம்ப நேரம் வீட்டில் நான் ஒரு மாதம் டோர்னமெண்ட் வைக்காமல் வரலன்னா அவன் ஒரு மாதிரி ரெஸ்ட்லெஸ் ஆகிடுவான். எனக்கு ஏன் டோர்னமெண்ட் ஆட விட மாட்டேங்க. ஸோ அதனால் அவனோட விருப்பத்துக்கு தான் இப்படி தான் ஆடணும்னு கிடையாது. சில குழந்தைங்க ஒரு டோர்னமெண்ட் 2வது டோர்னமெண்ட் போனாலே டயர்ட் ஆகிடுவாங்க. இவன் வரிசையாக 4 டோர்னமெண்ட் ஆடினா தான் அவன் இது ஆடின மாதிரி ஒரு ஃபீலிங் இருக்கும். நம்ம குழந்தைங்களுக்கு எது கரெக்டாக இருக்கோ அதுக்கேற்ற மாதிரி.
கண்டிப்பாக தமிழ்நாடு கவர்மெண்ட்டோட சப்போர்ட், ஹானரபிள் லைக் நம்ம ஹானரபிள் சீஃப் மினிஸ்டர் சார், டெப்யூட்டி சீஃப் மினிஸ்டர் எப்பவும் ஏதாவது லைக் நான் அச்சீவ் பண்ணும்போது லைக் வீட்டுக்கு கூப்பிட்டு like
whenever I have achieved something, the Tamil Nadu government CM has called me and appreciated me.
like last year 23 நடந்த டிசம்பர் 23 டிசம்பரில் நடந்த சென்னை கிராண்ட் மாஸ்டர்ஸ் டோர்னமெண்ட்டே தமிழ்நாடு கவர்மெண்ட் லாஸ்ட் மினிட்ல வந்து லைக் ஸ்பான்சர் பண்ணி அந்த அரேஞ்ச்மெண்ட்ஸ்லாம் ஹெல்ப் பண்ணது.
In 2023 December, the Tamil Nadu government had sponsored me at the very last moment, so that helped me really in the tournament.
But like அந்த டோர்னமெண்ட் நடந்துச்சு லைக் நிறைய பிளேயர்ஸ்க்கு சப்போர்ட் பண்ணுறது, நிறைய ஸ்பான்சர்ஸ்.
The Tamil Nadu government has been supporting a lot of players.
The Tamil Nadu government நிறையவே ஹெல்ப் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. இது மேலும்
they have helped us a lot, they have helped me a lot.
செஸ் கிடைச்சா இன்னும் நிறைய பிளேயர்ஸ் நல்லா பெர்ஃபார்ம் பண்ணுவாங்க, இன்னும் நிறைய செஸ் பிளேயர்ஸ் வருவாங்கன்னு நான் நம்புறேன். ஸோ ரொம்ப ரொம்ப நன்றி தமிழ்நாடு கவர்மெண்ட்.
I hope that a lot of other chess players come forward and they play nicely and they perform much better than me.
Yeah, Paddy has been a very important part of my team. I asked Sandeep sir. After I won the candidates, I asked Sandeep sir, who was my sponsor, Westbridge, and Sandeep sir got immediately in touch with Paddy, for a mental training thing, and Paddy. We started working in preparation for the World Championship, and I've learned a lot of things, and I enjoyed all the conversations that I had with him. And in the World Championship, it's not only about chess, but there's a lot of mental and emotional struggles that you have to deal with. And Paddy has had experience with high-level sports and high-level performance in different sports, and for me, for sure, the conversations that we had and the suggestions that he has given me for this match and for me as a person to develop myself has been very important, and I would like to give a lot of credit for him. For especially you could see that like for example, I lost game 1 and game 12, two very important games, and it's very tough to handle that in those moments. And Paddy, his teachings have really helped me overcome those moments. So yeah, huge thanks to Paddy.
செஸ் கேபிட்டல் ஆஃப் செஸ் சாம்பியன் ஆனதுக்கு அப்புறம் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வெளியில வந்து உங்களதான் கட்டி பிடிச்சு ஒரு எமோஷனலான ஒரு மொமெண்ட் இருந்துச்சு. ஸோ நீங்களும் அந்த லாஸ்ட் மூமெண்ட்டுக்கு முன்னாடி ரொம்ப பரபரப்பா இருந்தீங்க, அந்த வீடியோ நிறைய பார்த்தோம். ஸோ அந்த மொமெண்ட் எப்படி இருந்துச்சு, அந்த எமோஷனலான வின் பண்ணதுக்கு அப்புறம் அவர் வெளியில் வந்திருக்கோம்?
நான் தான் டோர் கிட்ட நின்று தான் எல்லாம் ஃபஸ்ட்டு கட்டி முடிச்சோம். வேறு வழி மற்றபடி வேறு ஒன்றும் பெரிய விஷயம் கிடையாது. பட் எனக்கு எமோஷ்னலாக வந்து ஒரு மேட்ச் ட்ரா மாதிரி போயிட்டு இருந்தது. சடனாக மாறினதுல ஒரு சடன் எக்ஸைட்மெண்ட், அதனால வந்து அதை கரெக்டாக கேப்சர் பண்ணிருந்தேன். அவன் வந்து he was very emotional at that time. And ஸோ என்ன மட்டும் இல்லை, அவனோட கோச்சஸ் கயஸ்கிட்டையும் அதே மாதிரி தான் he just put his emotions out. பேடிக்கிட்டையும் அப்படி தான், அவரோட ஸ்பான்சர்ஸ் அங்கேருந்து அவனுக்கு தெரிஞ்ச எல்லாருக்கிட்டையும் வந்து he was letting out his emotions. It was really good moment for us to support. Thank you.
Chennai has been chess capital of India. That is the Chennai. What is the target of it? It is being
And that is the first message coming in from D. Gukesh as he briefs the media, arrives to a hero's welcome after making the entire country proud. The first news conference that he's holding in Chennai. Putting out the trophy for all of the country to watch as World Chess Champion D. Gukesh, who in that message says that World Championship is an important step towards which he worked very hard. The youngest World Chess Champion, having arrived to a hero's welcome, has thanked all his well-wishers and even the Tamil Nadu government for all its support. D. Gukesh, who arrived just a few hours ago, puts out that first message after he is back home.
Indian Army along with the Jammu and Kashmir Police has foiled a major narcotics bid along the line of control in the Nashara sector of Rajouri and have arrested 2 local smugglers along with a 5.5 kilogram of heroin, the international market worth of which is more than 25 crore. For more, stay tuned to Republic TV right after this short break.